This video discusses sensors, especially those included in the Vex IQ Superkit.
Sensors allow machines to understand some of the world around them. Robots are a combination of sensors, code, and actuators. Without sensors, robots would be unable to do useful work. In order to do a task right, it's usually helpful to know what you are doing. For this reason, robots typically have both internal and external sensors, allowing them to understand the state of the world around them and their internal state. The sensors that are included in the Vex IQ kit are bumper switches, touch LED sensors, motors which have integrated encoders, gyros, distance sensors, and color sensors.
The bumper sensor is one of the most simple. It sends a simple electrical signal back to the brain saying whether or not the bumper is pressed. When the bumper is pressed, it completes a circuit inside the sensor which sends this signal. The bumper switch can be used to start or stop a motor or another action, and it can be used to detect contact with another surface.
Touch LED sensors work by measuring capacitance, a physical property related to stored electrical potential energy. This is also how touchscreens work. The touch LED sensor is constantly sending out an electronic signal and measures the electrical signal that it receives back. When the returned electric signal is at a value that indicates that the sensor has been touched, which is preset in the sensor, it sends a message to the robot brain. This sensor can be used for a variety of things that are very similar to the bumper switch. It can be used to start or pause a program. It can also be used to display certain colors at different parts of the code so that the progress of the code can be tracked, which is something that the bumper switch cannot do.
The next sensor in the Vex IQ kit is not actually a sensor. It's the motors. Motors are actuators, but many bundle a sensor inside the motor. Sometimes these are considered smart motors. This sensor, called an encoder, measures rotations of the shaft. Using this measurement, many insights about internal state may be made. Some primary uses of encoders are measuring distance driven, measuring a shaft's speed, or determining the angle of a joint. Encoders typically fall into one of two styles: magnetic and optical. Optical encoders have a disc with markings at equal intervals. A light is positioned on one side of these markings and a sensor on the other. By counting the number of times the light flickers, the encoder can count how many markings moved past, therefore knowing how much the shaft has rotated. By putting two of these lights next to one another, the encoder can determine the direction the ticks happen in, as one light will turn off before the other when covered by a marking on the disc.
Magnetic encoders mount a permanent magnet on the motor shaft instead of a marked disc. Instead of using light to count ticks, the magnetic encoder measures magnetic field strength from two or more points around the magnet to determine the direction the shaft is rotated. The benefit of this magnet is that even when the robot does not know the state of the shaft, it can still know the angle to within one full rotation. This means that it is considered an absolute encoder, as opposed to the single ring disc optical encoder, which is considered a relative or incremental encoder. This is because all measurements taken are relative to whatever the initial state of the shaft was, measuring the change that has occurred since the initial state.
When using a relative encoder, initial state can be seeded with information from another sensor. In the case of a robot with a forward-facing scoop, knowing how high the scoop is off the ground is a two-step problem. First, drive the motor downwards at a safe speed, with a button on the scoop located at a position that will collide with the ground. Once the scoop hits the ground, stop the motor and set the state of the encoder to 0 degrees. By this method, we coerce the robot into a known state, and from there, we can use the relative measurements to get the actual state of the scoop. Now, we can use control methods to set the scoop to a specific angle instead of just controlling the direction and speed of the motor.
The next type of sensor that we will discuss is the gyro. The gyro sensor tracks how fast and in which direction the sensor rotates. Gyro sensors are used to maintain stability in a vehicle or detect rotation in small handheld devices. The Vex gyro sensor is used to determine if the robot has turned or gone up an incline, and to control movement, maintain straight lines, and make accurate turns. It can also be used to track the status of a component of the robot, such as an arm.
Internally, gyroscopes vibrate a material around the axis they are measuring rotation about. When the gyroscope is actually rotated, these vibrations are biased against the direction of rotation, and the angular velocity of the rotation can be determined from the strength of this bias. Like optical encoders, gyros are also a relative sensor. In order to determine absolute rotation, other sensors must be used to find the initial state. Often, inertial measurement units, or IMUs, include a gyroscope, accelerometer, and compass all in one package, so that the compass can provide absolute rotation. The compass is not used exclusively, though, as it has lower resolution than the gyroscope and is affected by electromagnetic interference. Additionally, due to the vibration and relative nature of gyros, readings may drift over time, even if the gyroscope is not rotated. For this reason, anytime the rotational state of the robot has a value that reliably suggests an absolute direction, the gyro should be updated. For example, straightening out by driving into a wall can be a method to coerce the robot into this reliable state, after which the sensor's output can be reset, removing any accumulated drift since the last reliable state update.
The next sensor that we will discuss is the distance sensor. The distance sensor uses ultrasonic waves in a manner similar to bats and dolphins to locate solid objects and report the distance to that object. The distance sensor times how long it takes for the ultrasonic waves to return after being sent out. Because this method of distance detection requires the ultrasonic waves to bounce back, curved surfaces will not give accurate readings, as the waves will not respond in the same manner as a flat surface, as they will get distorted. The distance sensor can be used to measure distances and in collision avoidance, as well as to locate other objects. The final sensor in the Vex IQ kit is the color sensor. The color sensor uses light sensors on reflected light to detect an object's color and proximity. It can detect both light intensity and color. Light intensity is reported as a percentage, with the higher the percentage being the more intense light. Colors are reported either by the color name or by a hue value, ranging from 0 to 360. While using the color's name is easier, using the hue values are more accurate if the sensor is properly calibrated. Proximity detection uses an infrared emitter and detects the reflection. If a certain percentage of the infrared light is detected, it returns that it is in close proximity to another object. The color sensor can be used to follow lines and for object avoidance, among other tasks.
Some other sensors that are commonly used in machines and robots are cameras, which function as an array of color sensors that group the data in such a way that a clear image is returned, Hall effect sensors, which show the proximity to a strong magnetic field, accelerometers, which measure acceleration, including the direction of gravity, compasses, which measure the angle in a magnetic field and typically are used to find Earth's magnetic north, microphones, which are used to record audio, and LiDAR arrays, high accuracy distance measuring devices that can either see in 2 or 3 dimensions. Each of these sensors returns different types of data, and each is applicable in different circumstances. Some return much more data than others. Microphones, cameras, and LiDAR all require much more processing to make use of this data. However, computer vision and related research fields have been able to extract lots of information about the world state via computational methods for processing this data.
Sensors are used to solve problems. Often more than one sensor can do the job for a robot. When designing or prototyping new mechanisms, it is good practice to try multiple sensors to determine the best one to use. In this example, let's consider a turreted robot. With a top section that must be rotated to a specific angle, two choices of sensor arise: the motor's shaft encoder or a gyroscope. By mounting a gyroscope to the turret, it becomes easy to request a specific angle to aim in. With this approach, the robot's base can turn and drive around, but the gyroscope will keep the turret pointed at the same angle relative to the floor. However, with only one gyroscope, the robot's drivetrain angle is unknown.
Let's try a different approach. Mounting the gyroscope on the robot, using the motor connected to the turret's shaft to measure its angle. Now, in order to keep the turret pointed in the same direction, we must combine the angle of the base with the angle of the turret. Setting the turret angle to the desired angle relative to the floor can be done by subtracting the drivetrain's angle, measured by the gyroscope, from the desired turret angle, and sending this command to the turret's motor. Both of these approaches work, but the implementation of the techniques might make one configuration work better than the other. Trying both ways lets one know which one is better for a specific application. Sensors are not one size fits all, and to use them well, they require testing and iterative design so that the most precise and accurate measurements can be made. Thank you for watching.